I've never seen ones like this before anywhere else other than Taiwan, but he's quite a character with all his armor and hairs and decoration. So what I do with caterpillars, rather than killing them and feeding them to the fish, is that I pick a few leaves with it which they've been eating, and I put it in a container, and then I let the caterpillar become a butterfly or a moth, whatever it is, and then when it does come out, I release it back outside again. So that way it limits the damage it does to my plants, and I don't disturb nature by killing off this kind of animal species, you know, butterfly and the caterpillar. Okay, so I've got a box and I put a leaf in there. Now I'm going to put the other leaf with the caterpillar on it inside. So what I'll do is I'll leave them in here, give them leaves every 2 days or so, make sure it's got holes in it, and then I'll wait for it to finish being a worm and turn into a chrysalis, go into its transition state, and then when it comes out as a butterfly or moth, I'll let it out, set it free again, so it can continue its life cycle. Maybe he's even going to start eating now. Yep, he's happy enough to start eating. And the poops that he does I'll put out in the garden as well. He's just breaking down the leaves, kind of like composting it. I'll show you the fish pond. This little fish pond is here just for having some little fish in it. Don't know if frogs and stuff can really come and hop in it, lay their eggs, and then probably get eaten by the fish. But what happens is that the weed grows a lot in the summer when there's a lot of sun, so all I have to do is, well, I have to do it, but one of the reasons I have this is that then I've got some mulch, so that just goes on the top of one of pot plants on the top of the soil. Within a couple of days it just disappears and goes into the soil. It helps feed the soil, so it's a different kind of mulch. This little pot I just planted up last weekend. Just take the seedlings that I've spread the seeds around and then get seedlings, and then I transplant them into their own pot somewhere. So these 2 lettuces and a cauliflower and a bit of basil, and planted a clove of garlic there, even a spring onion. Just use the spring onion and keep the root, stick the root in. And 2 cuttings of Hong Kong sai. Hong Kong sai is this one here with the beautiful purple red leaf underneath it, very high in iron. One of my favorite vegetables in Taiwan. So again, that there I could probably cut and have 4 or 5 cuttings, just stick that in the ground, and they grow really easily normally, and they're quite productive. You just pick off the leaves one at a time. They get eaten by some bugs a little bit, but they grow fast enough, it doesn't matter. So what I feed the fish, if I come back to the fish, they're in there, is I buy normal fish food. But also when you have oats go bad, in other words they get little bugs in them if you've had them too long, try and feed them half fish food and half this, so kind of alternate. Kind of hard to get out with one hand. So just spread a little bit of that on the surface. You can see the fish come up, get it. These are just guppies. And there's one beautiful dark coloured fish, but he's harder to see in the camera, in the reflection today. So when you feed fish, you just feed as much as they eat in the first 5 minutes. Don't want to overfeed them. And if I don't feed them, then they eat the algae and the roots of the plants and a bit of the plants anyway, so If we go away for a week or two, it doesn't matter, they're still living. But they do like getting food, as you can see. The aquaponics setup was made with the old fish tank that I bought from the person I got the apartment from. It's featured in another video where the little pump on the top here next to these plant containers, little pump pumps the water up and around the corner here, which goes into some grow beds filled with that clay balls, and I'll show you that in a minute. And on top I just put these plant containers because this gets some afternoon sun, and when I water it, extra water goes through and fills into the tank anyhow. I've got 2 tanks just to increase the amount of water. Simply pipes between the 2 tanks keep them level, so as the water gets pumped out, the water level changes in the other container, equalizes out. These are the grow beds. Like I said, they've been in another video before, so the water comes around the corner, it flows in over here and there, and also that's just the T-junction, and it also comes into this one here, and they are also connected in the middle between the 2. As you can see, mint really grows well in this grow bed. A few other things are growing as well. There's some strawberry plants, even a tomato plant, not doing so well right now, but I've had a huge plant before. This side's got more variety. I've got Hong Kong sai growing here, the purple leaves there and there, another tomato plant. Lettuce is supposed to grow very well but doesn't really. Basil's kind of doing okay. Lots of strawberry plants, and hopefully the strawberries are going to flower soon, and then if I can get the strawberries to hang over the edges, then we'll get some strawberries. Yeah, this vegetable here grows really well. So this is my balcony as I come through the room and come out. Basically what I do is I've rescued plants. In other words, when people in this community throw them out and I see them lying around, I collect them up, and sometimes just by trimming and cutting back the plant survives. Otherwise I just use the container and the soil. Usually I add more soil to it if it needs it, and I add worm juice as well. Here's my worm juice. There's some there in that juice container, and then I just use a spray bottle and spray it all around. So the worm juice, as most people know, is very good for the soil and increasing the bacteria in the soil. So if I've rescued other people's plants and the soil isn't so good, then putting bacteria into it is going to improve the soil. Often I add worms and the worm castings as well, and you can spray the worm juice directly on plants. Plants can absorb stuff through their leaves and that. So yeah, helps them grow really well. I like to reuse any containers that I can. We had an old wok hanging up in a tree there, and I just drilled a couple of holes into it, so fill it with soil, put some plants in it. In such a small space, growing vertically is very important. So for example, this old table was thrown out by somebody in the community, and I brought it up here, and yeah, took a bit of the top bit out, the top section out, so that some light would go through to the pots underneath. But as you can see, pots kind of grow up, and the stems and branches come out around the sides, and so you've increased your area of growing space. I've still got a lot of stuff here in the balcony that I want to remove. They're plants that are not edible. I did a large amount last week and went and guerrilla gardened planted them out down by the river somewhere in Taipei. Now I need to do that again. You can see still a lot of impatiens basilicas and this other one with the red leaf here. There's all sorts in between, again either rescued plants or plants that grow from cuttings, and then they've just multiplied and multiplied, and I've grown a garden maybe half a dozen times at least. You know, plants like this purple leafed one here, they're really easy to grow, so I'm going to take out more of those and plant more food, because I want to see how much food I can grow in this small space.